The views and opinions expressed on Unlock Your Wealth Radio are those of the host, guests, and callers only and are not necessarily the views of Unlock Your Wealth Radio, Heather Wagenhals, or Success Publishing International.
More willpower than a barefoot woman at a shoe sale. Able to stretch a single paycheck for an entire month. Makes money concepts easier than third grade math. Introducing your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals.
Work all day, stress all night. Take your mind off your money and focus on your life. Money don't matter or the stuff it bought. It's the way you think, not what you've got, yeah.
Unlock Your Wealth Radio starts now. Get your money mind right.
Get your money mind right here. Unlock Your Wealth Radio in the house.
Right here. Trying to do that Ed Sullivan thing, you know? That
Oh, yeah.
right here on our stage.
That's good.
Not bad.
That was a good one. I liked it. I am your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals, and our Ed Sullivan impersonator is none other than the Maestro of Moolah, Michael Terry.
Hey, folks.
And we are going to help you get your money mind right on today's show. We have so much to talk about today as we are finalizing our season. We're in the second to the last key in our Keys to Riches. We got the new show coming up. We got FreedomFest coming up. What?
Yes, we do.
We're busy. We're sitting here with our pencils and we're working our schedules, trying to figure out, okay, because we got to do dry run before we pack up the crap to go to Freedom Fest, to then get it all set up, and hopefully it still works the same as it did when we were in Arizona.
I like that. Pack up the crap.
Well, you know, my Jeep's going to be exploding.
Yeah, you're going to have a full car.
You know, and it's too bad there's not more room because, you know, between Kingman and Kingman and Vegas, we have a really great stretch of internet. So we do Jeep Chat.
Oh.
And we do this cool little live Jeep Chat. It's like our annual Jeep Chat broadcast,
Wow,
you know.
nice.
Last year was Leonard. Leonard was my guest on Jeep Chat. So Jennifer and I already did it. And Matt, Jennifer, and I did it the first year we did Jeep Chat. Actually, I think she was sleeping in the backseat. But it's so fun. You know, because we just, you know, musings as you drive, kind of like.
So what, do you do it on Facebook?
Yeah, we do a Facebook Live. And we do Jeep Chat. Maybe we'll do Instagram Live. My Instagram following is really starting to take off. All of you folks in the Unlock Your Wealth community. I mean, yeah, we're getting there.
Cool.
We're making our numbers.
Damn.
Yay. It's so exciting. So we've got a great show for you today. So I also would like to tell you this, that today's show sponsor is audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/unlock your wealth for Unlock Your Wealth listeners and soon to be Unlock Your Wealth viewers as we move over into the new format.
Going into TV land.
I know! Isn't that going to be so way awesome? I'm totally excited about that. So what we're going to have is you need to get your free book. So my book is up there in Audible. If you want, just Google me, because I've also done voiceover work. So there's some audiobooks that I've narrated in there too. If you want to give those a listen, one of them's really corny, but it was practice. What can I say? Also, well, for free, because it's free. So my gift to you, Atlas Shrugged, my #1 book of all time, of course.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm almost done reading it right now. Like, Dagny came back. She left the Gulch. And so John followed her, right? And I just finished the tunnel scene. And for those of you who know Atlas, know that was a pretty saucy scene. So get Atlas Shrugged, and you can get the version that's narrated by Scott Brick. He's an amazing person. I met him at this premiere of this Atlas Shrugged Part 2 movie premiere, and it's the one that I listen to all the time, and it's fully unabridged. It's a long darn time, but if you're a fast reader like me,
there are numerous versions?
There are a few now. So the very first was an abridged version done by Edward Herman, the late Edward Herman. And I loved it because,
great.
Yes. And so I wore that one out and I listened to it for years. And that was like, you know, it wasn't the whole book, but if you wanted to get the flavor and get fired up like I do, it's my sharpen the saw, it was perfect. But now Scott Brick did an amazing job of bringing these characters to life. And there's a lot of characters. You know, I mean, he probably does 30 plus voices. He's so talented. So it's a great book. So, but you know, if you don't like that book, That's okay too, because there's over 150,000 other titles you could pick from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. So all you do is visit audibletrial.com/unlock your wealth and get your free audiobook on me today. Along with reading, something that makes reading easier is to have words to read, right?
Yes.
Just a thought. I don't know. Kind of going out on a limb here.
Where is this going?
It's going to our Moolah Word of the Day.
Oh, there you go.
You want to do Moolah or do you want to get to the key? Tell us what our key is first.
Practicing the 3 R's.
Yes, it is. And we'll talk about those. We'll actually do a little bit more. I did a really interesting piece of it on Monday. For those of you who didn't get the live show on Monday from Facebook, all you have to do is go to facebook.com/Unlock Your Wealth Radio. And then you can look for Monday's show. It's Unlock Your Wealth Live. And we do it live every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific. Although on the 2nd of July, it's going to be preempted because we're going to air our first Unlock Your Wealth Today episode. Our TV episode will be on in place of that. But
when is that? July what?
July 2nd. 2 weeks away.
Uh-oh.
You're like, holy cow, I got to get to work. Okay, so let's talk Moolah Word of the Day, shall we? All right. So we're going to do a moolah phrase. Sometimes I like to do the phrases from investor words because I think the comparison and contrast has value in addition to just a simple definition. Wouldn't you agree?
I would.
All right. So today's comparison, when entrepreneurs get started, maybe it's a passion project of theirs that kind of starts evolving in and of itself. Outside of an entrepreneur's plan, he stumbles into being an entrepreneur. And then he finds himself, okay, I just made all of this side hustle cash that now it's so big, it's not a side hustle, it's a main hustle. I think I should probably form an entity, a business entity, because that's what the IRS, of course, Uncle Sam is going to want you to do that. And the question always becomes, what type of entity, right?
Right.
And as a sole proprietor and as a small business owner, it's always people looking at S corporations versus LLCs, right? And people are like, I don't know which way to go. Now, so let me state this from the outset. I am not a CPA nor a tax attorney, and I haven't yet played one on TV either. So you need to consult one of those types of professionals when seeking this counsel. But I'm not advising you to go one way or the other. I'm just going to explain them to you. So let's get that out of the way up front. You adopt a business organization for the business itself. It provides you legal protection from what's going on, so it limits your personal liabilities in certain cases, and it has different tax consequences. All right, so each one has their own unique protection and income tax advantage. Let's compare the difference, all right? So corporation status is generally more formal in its structure and can be better suited to larger and more established businesses. LLCs, being less rigid, work for newer or smaller businesses. But in any case, the discussion, the S Corps are subchapter S that we're going to talk about because it's a fairly complex comparison, but it's one that I thought that would suit it. And since we have extra time on today's show, since we opted not to have a guest, that we could have the opportunity to talk about this. So to define an S corporation, it's a distinct legal entity created under state law. It enables business owners to separate themselves legally and financially from the business itself. It provides a strong level of protection for owners from creditors and lawsuits seeking financial compensation from the company. It's a must-have because if you do business with the public, you're inevitably not going to serve somebody to the best of your ability, even though you try really hard, right? There's just some people you can't ever satisfy. Exactly. There's also accidents that happen. There's, product failures, that happens. And some people will sue you because we are in a litigious society. And so these are things that we want to think about when it comes to protecting ourselves. So as corporations require a substantial level of compliance, sometimes referred to as corporate formalities. These are necessary to establish a dividing line between the corporation and its shareholders. For this reason, small business owners often choose simpler business organization forms such as LLCs, which we'll get to in a minute. One of the primary advantages of corporations is that the ownership of the company can change hands without disturbing the operation of the business. This also allows for the continuation of the company in the event of the death of one of its shareholders and makes it easier to hire non-shareholders to manage the company's operations. All right, so these are distinct advantages. Mm-hmm. Now let's listen to the limited liability company definition. A limited liability company offers a business owner considerable flexibility. The owner can have many of the same legal and liability protections available to corporations, but corporate formalities are greatly relaxed. The major exception are loans and obligations such as leases personally guaranteed by an owner. They will remain a potential liability of the owner despite the LLC status of the business. And so that's a challenge. Now, this is when you're talking brand new baby LLCs before they're all grown up or even teenagers. Once your company gets seasoning behind itself, maybe once it gets a DUNS number because it has corporate credit that it was able to be built, then these leases may not require those. It all depends on the newness, and underwriters take a look at that. You know, it's not just 4 layers of risk like we talk about on our Create Credit show, you know, where we look at character, capacity, capital, and collateral, you know, because they're looking at that, but they're looking at it in the relationship. So, okay, great. You know, so they look at the income, but they look at how long the income is. They track, is the income been consistent or is it fluctuate? Like all of that stuff. They look at it a little bit harder because the business is newer and because it's a business and lenders know that that's usually where the buck stops when it comes to liability or obligations for liability. You know, being able to go after the person behind the company makes the underwriter feel more comfortable. Oh, okay, so this business owner isn't trying to hide and throw something at the wall, and if it sticks, great. If not, he's out the door filing bankruptcy and the company is gone. No, so that's where the personal guarantee comes in and says, if the company fails on this financial obligation, I will pay the obligation. Mm-hmm. And so that happens a lot with LLCs. LLCs and their regulations they vary in their requirements state to state. So you'll need to be familiar with the rules of your state before making the decision, do I go LLC or something else? This is partially due to the fact that LLCs are a relatively recent phenomenon compared to corporations, which have been around for centuries. In many states, regulations and practices regarding LLCs is still being worked out. The income tax treatment. So corporate taxation is both corporations and LLCs offer various tax advantages to the owners. A corporation is taxed as a separate tax-paying entity by the IRS. It will file its own income tax return, Form 1120, and pay taxes on its profit. If the corporation pays dividends to the shareholders out of those profits, the dividends will be subject to income tax at the shareholders' rate of taxation. It's often referred to as double taxation. Yeah. The same profits are subject to corporate tax and then again at the personal level. Shareholders can get around double taxation by compensating themselves through salary, benefits, and bonuses. And since the compensation is deductible to the corporation for income tax purposes, it will only be taxed once at the personal level of the shareholder. They can also avoid double taxation by converting a corporation to a subchapter S. This allows corporations to pass its profits on to the shareholders, where it will be taxed as individual income only, similar to treatment under an LLC or a partnership. No income tax will be owed by the corporation itself. And LLCs offer the greatest flexibility because the owner or member of an LLC can have their income taxed in 3 ways. A single owner LLC is treated as Schedule C, sole proprietor, for tax purposes. 2 or more owners are taxed as a partnership, filing Form 1065, then reporting partnership income shares on their personal income tax. And then LLCs also have an option to be taxed as a corporation and filing file an annual 1120 income tax return. It could be done by filing IRS Form 8832, and then they could be treated as tax. So it does have some flexibility. The difference in terminology in LLCs, they're called members versus subchapter S corporations, they are called shareholders. An S corp is a distinct legal entity, and an LLC has corporation benefits, but it's a limited liability company. It's still a company, not a corporation.
Can an LLC have public stock?
Can it own public stock, or you mean is it offered for sale as public stock?
Offered for sale?
No.
Okay.
Because it would have to be a registered security.
Gotcha.
So that would be, you have to register a security like that. So those are kind of the differences. An LLC, when it comes to the death of the main owner or members of the LLC, it may be able to be a perpetual entity if it's provided for in the Articles of Organization. Otherwise, the LLC dissolves upon the death, resignation, or termination or bankruptcy of a member, any member. But, most of them don't have very many, so let's think in terms, and again, I am not the legal beagle here, but let's think in terms of, usually you have a majority member or a managing member. Right. So, it all depends on how it's structured, how you took care of that structure in the Articles of Organization. Because remember, it's less formal than a corporation. A corporation has full corporate filings in their Articles of Organization. So it's going to be, they're a little, that's where it becomes more informal. With corporations, you have, depending on whether you're public or private, you're going to have reporting and all kind of other stuff. Yeah. And in LLCs, you don't have to do that. So it all depends on what you're trying to accomplish with your organization. It all depends on how big your organization is and what protections you truly need to decide which way you go. Yeah. But that's kind of a little flavor for that. I went a little long, but I thought it was a great comparison to have. Yeah. And we have so many entrepreneurs that listen to this show. I felt like, well, we needed to do them a solid today. Absolutely. Yay, you are listening to Unlock Your Wealth Radio. I am your purveyor of prosperity, Heather Wagenhals, and I am flanked by the Maestro of Moolah, Michael Terry. Hey. And it is so great to have you on today's episode. This segment is sponsored in part by KeepMyID.org, the only service that actually prevents identity theft. All others are just monitoring services. Put your credit on lockdown for Unlock Your Wealth Radio listeners with their special offer by visiting our website at unlockyourwealthradio.com/KeepMyID and click on the link to start protecting your financial future right now. Time for the keys.
Yeah, practicing the 3 R's.
Yes, so this is our 12th key in the Keys to Riches financial philosophy. And I am so excited about this. And so I did like a little deep dive on Monday in a couple of areas dealing with this. And so I thought I would, do just a little bit different here as we talk about it. I'll give you a little bit more of an expansive view of it. So when I designed, as the Keys to Riches financial philosophy evolved, I guess I should say, because it was an evolution. And as I learn more and I find additional resources, whether it's with the brain or behavior or actual trends in the marketplace or new financial products and services, it's constantly, it's a philosophy that has a really strong foundation, but it keeps evolving. And even so now, when we flip over to the new TV show, it's not 3 R's anymore. It's 4, but it really should be 5. Yeah. So, but the 3 R's are what take standard budgeting practices. If we would just want to boil it down and call it standard budgeting practices, it's what takes it to the next level. It's not just checks and balances, it's actual moolah management. Mm-hmm. And this is where we need to be, because when we think about getting out of debt or achieving financial freedom or any of the things that are important to us as individuals and creating our financial future, the thing that separates fitness people, the people that want to exercise and lose weight, and the same people that want to, get out of debt and achieve financial freedom, the concepts and the principles are the same. And, it's, budgeting and dieting only go so far. And budgeting or dieting are things that we as a construct think of in our head as something that we go onto and off of.
Yeah.
And it's that off of that's the problem, because it's not like I stepped down from it. It's like I fell, as in off the wagon.
Off the wagon.
And so we don't know how to get back on the wagon. Or when we get off the wagon, we wind up filling our pockets with dirt and rocks and so much lead that it's almost impossible to get back on the wagon.
Yeah.
And so the challenge becomes, well, how do I get back on the wagon? And this process, the practicing the 3 R's, gets you back on the wagon with a biology-based approach to success. And that's what separates the Keys to Riches financial philosophy from any other management tool out there. And every time a new one comes up, I check it out. Oh, see what they're doing. What are they up to? And it's all the same. It's all the same. It's just like a different spin, choosing different words. There's no fundamental difference. And the way the 3 R's work, it's not reading, writing, and arithmetic. All right, now here, quick quiz. On your toes, what are they?
Oh, geez. I knew you were going to ask me.
Well, why weren't you prepared? Come on.
Because I don't want to be sitting here looking at my phone while you're...
Well,
Anyway.
I appreciate the undivided attention.
Yeah.
I tell you what,
It
starts with an R.
I know. No.
And both of them have E's after the R.
I'm just going to embarrass you, so.
Review, revise.
And recommit.
There we go. Yay!
If you give me the first one, I would have gotten the other 2.
Okay, well, all right. So here we go. We got them. So in our review, revise, and recommit, what do? First thing, we do not start with the money. No, we go grab our dreams with deadlines. We do grab our balance sheet, our Where Am I worksheet, but we also grab our savings and spending trackers for the last 30 days. But we also have to first review our goals. What was the target? Knowing what goes in and out is not information we can use unless it has some context. Where were the goals? What were we trying to achieve? Now we can start answering, what's the difference? We have where am I going, and what's the difference?
Right.
And our 3 questions, 5 areas of concern. And so we pull out our where am I and where am I going? That's our balance sheet and our dreams with deadlines. We also grab our monthly savings and spending trackers, and then we come up with a quarterly worksheet. And now we have something to measure. But we have to review the goals first. We have to get our mind in the right place first, because without that, we don't have the context. And if we did have hiccups, guess what? We're going to let them slide. We're not going to think much about them because it's just a number going up or down. That's why we need the goals out for the comparison. We have to be able to, and just like we do with everything else, we suspend judgment. Remember, we don't use good or bad. Decisions are effective or ineffective, but we need to look at the goals to know where their target was, because we have to be able to measure our performance. And then we can tweak in the revise section. That's why we have to know where we were headed and to see if we got there or not. All right. And that's the only way, because then we can change the bar, move the bar, push the bar, jump the bar, whatever you're going to do in the revise section. And then you recommit. You get back, you satiate that palate, you bring those future goals into right now. So you have that euphoria and enthusiasm and motivation, because what do we know about the brain? We're present moment oriented, even if we want to be far thinking. And we are the only species that can really do that and plan, but we're still present moment individuals. And so we have to bring those long-term goals into today. And we have to do that by getting our brains excited about that, because willpower wanes, discipline dissipates. The longer the day goes on, the longer the project goes on, the harder it becomes to stick with it. Right. Unless you can do an end run around the way the brain works. And that's all you have to do, is we just got to fake it out. And so that's what we're doing with the review, revise, and recommit key. So for more information on that, visit facebook.com/Unlock Your Wealth Radio and go to our show page. By the way, like the show page and turn on notifications so you always know every time we put up a new show. That way you won't miss an episode. And go there to get more details on that. I'd like to wrap up today's show by talking about Freedom Fest. This is something I've been involved in for how many years now? 4?
4, yeah.
Yeah, because I was going before I started speaking and participating. And so Freedom Fest, freedomfest.com, go there. Buy your ticket July 11th through the 14th in Las Vegas, Nevada at the beautiful Paris Hotel. And I think that there might be still some deals available for rooms and stuff if you get on the stick and hurry up. So So Freedom Fest is the largest liberty and economic conference in the world, and it's for free thinkers. So if you are a free mind, if you are pro-freedom, if you are a free market person and you are pro-money, then this is where you need to be. The best thing about this reminds me of, the experiences when you get a hot pass, when you get to go to NASCAR. When you go to a NASCAR event, you get a hot pass, you're in the garages, you're in there where the cars are, where the mechanics are, and where the stars are. And Freedom Fest is like that hot pass to financial and freedom stars. Okay, so you get the top minds. So Steve Forbes is the ambassador, but John Stossel's always there with Bitcoin Girl, his producer. We're there. Jeffrey Tucker, all right. Jim Woods, our investment analyst, he's always there. And so all of these famous people are there. Peter Thiel, co-founder of PayPal, and John Mackey, Whole Foods. These are guys that you can walk up to. You see them on the TV, you invest in their stocks, in their companies, and now you can walk up and touch them and feel them, and within reasonable limits, I suppose, but they're right there. You can interact with them like in no other place. I mean, where else are you going to get to go hang out with Steve Forbes? I mean, I would have never made him my ballroom dance buddy if it wasn't for Freedom Fest. Yeah. So it's a great place to do that, and we're launching Unlock Your Wealth Today, our new TV show at Freedom Fest. We will be broadcasting live. Our Friday show will be live, but we will be filming all of our shows during this week. We will have amazing interviews with all of these famous financial stars and these political freedom stars. Plus, we're doing 2 other very cool things that makes me really excited. So in addition to the Unlock Your Wealth thing, the Atlasphere, my passion, my love of Ayn Rand, and this website, theatlasphere.com, I own, and it is the largest community of admirers of the Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged. And it is the LinkedIn, HuffPo, and Match.com for folks that are fans of Ayn Rand and her writing. And we are broadcasting our podcast live, and I'm so excited that, our resident stock analyst here, Jim Woods, is actually now the co-host. And it makes it super exciting because he brings the philosophy side. I have the story side. I grew up with learning objectivism and the philosophy of Ayn Rand through the stories and applying objectivism, modeling the behavior of the characters in the book. But Jim is a philosophy major. He's a philosopher. So in addition to being a really great analyst, and so he brings the structure of the philosophy and the passion. And so I think it's a really great combination, and you'll see this as it plays out with our interviews. So we'll be doing interviews live there on that. And he has his own little pet project that we're launching for him, and it's called The Way of the Renaissance Man. And it is a super cool website. His tagline is focus, integration, and celebration. And if you think about all that a Renaissance man embodies, he is a multifaceted person. And so if you have high intensity pursuits, if you want more out of yourself and out of life, then you really want to participate with Jim and his podcast. And you can go to his website right now at wayoftherenaissanceman.com and sign up to get on his list. Also, visit our new TV show page at unlockyourwealthtoday.com to get on our VIP group, because this VIP group is going to have special offers. They're going to get all of our merch. They get to be beta testers before it goes out to the public. So all my new books and workshops, it's theirs for nothing. But the VIP club closes once The show launches July 2nd. So visit the website at unlockyourwealthtoday.com. Make sure you visit Jim's website at wayoftherenaissanceman.com. And then, of course, my passion project, theatlasphere.com. Those links will also be in the show page. For those of you who are driving out without a pencil, never fear. Unlockyourwealthradio.com is here, where you can visit the show page and get all the linky links to all of the great things that we're involved in. I'm so excited that you stopped by to join us. We've got more next week, and it's Declare Your Financial Independence Day coming up July 1. Remember that, so put that on your calendars. We'll talk more about that next week. For the Maestro of Moolah, Michael Terry, I'm Heather Wagenhals. Now go out and unlock your wealth today.
UnlockYourWealthRadio.com is produced by Heather Wagenhals and the Unlock Your Wealth Foundation. UnlockYourWealthRadio.com and its affiliates are copyrighted 2018 with all rights reserved. For more information on the Keys to Riches Financial Wellness series, please visit our website at www.unlockyourwealth.com.